Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, well, once again, another day. I do not sound like me to me. Hopefully, I sound like me in the recording. I have every day so far, but with my allergies, at least I hope it's not the result of my neighbors having burned the plastic and carpeting that they did. So, yay, but hopefully it's just the allergies and such, because I get really wheezy, which again, could be pollen, could be the damage, but I do not sound like me, but hopefully I sound like me. Here's hoping. Anyway, though, I guess first off, I did sleep pretty good last night when I was finally able to sleep. I've been getting to bed late. It's closer to 11-ish most of these nights. And so it's sometimes as late as 11:30 before it's lights off and I'm able to fall asleep. But with the head of my bed up, I'm slowly getting used to it. My mattress isn't moving now. Last night it didn't move because I've had to just wedge stuff under the head, so you move and it's going to slide down like this. I don't have a footboard down there right now. I'm going to have to do that. But last night, it didn't move because I don't move. So, the bed was pretty good. I slept pretty good, and that's a good deal. I mean, when I sleep now, it's right around 5 o'clock-ish when I wake up. And that's good. Oh my goodness, that's very, very good. So, I'm sleeping, and that's a very good thing. My voice box, to me, it's just clogged, so I'm gonna have to try coughing because I'm really having to push. Let's see if that helps. Oh, I sound a little better to myself. I mean, the sound has changed, so I still sound wrong, but differently wrong. It'll probably slide back, my voice box, yay. So, life is life, but at least I slept and things were good, and that last night was... I still haven't been writing yet. I haven't had a chance to do that. A whole bunch of reasons. I didn't fall asleep as much yesterday, so that's good, but there was just things happening, and yay. But I also left for walkies moderately early, like 7:30-ish. I was out and on the road. Usually when I go walkies, that's it. I'm done. When I got back, I wanted to take a shower. And usually when I just take a shower and don't go walkies, but I took a shower after walkies, so that probably helped in the sleeping department because I was very physically exhausted when it was all done. And so when I'm that exhausted, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do up here that's any good. I mean, even with the ADHD meds, I still have fibromyalgia. I still have chronic pain. I still have chronic injuries. I still have chronic weakness and chronic fatigue. My rechargeable battery that everybody has, when you go to bed, it's effectively, it plugs your charger into the wall and it recharges your body. Everybody's battery, depending on how close you are to the norm of 100% charge, there are those that have no issues recharging, and there are those that have huge issues recharging, and then there's the 80% in the middle. Depending on where you are, maybe you get 90 or 100% charge. Maybe you get 40% charge when you're over here. I'm over here. My battery doesn't charge up to 100%. I'm lucky if it gets charged up to like a good 60 on a good night. Now, there's a lot of organizations out there that say, to look at it as a handful of spoons when you go out. When you wake up every day, you have a certain number of spoons. But that seems to be a little bit tougher as a concept for people to get. Because it's like, you have a handful of spoons, like maybe everybody, when you wake up, you have 30 spoons, and every time you do something, it's a couple spoons, and so it's like, oh, when I wake up, I only have 20 spoons, and then you use up your spoons until you only have one spoon for the end of the day. But it's kind of like, well, also, how about it's like my rechargeable battery? I'm at 60% charge, so that when a normal quote unquote person has their battery charged up. They've used their battery during the day. They still have 40% left. They're ready to go out and charge out and do stuff. I've been used up a long time back. I can't keep up that way. My rechargeable battery's all used up. It doesn't charge up to 100%. So, yay. So I'm able to do more, I'm able to think more, I'm able to process more, I'm able to concentrate and focus and thus remember things and thus think. But the thing is, again, I've mentioned how this does not work as a stimulant. It just brings me up to 80% of normal instead of that 20% that most of my brain has been running on without this tool fixing things. I don't get any rush of energy or massive things. It's just because I have ADHD, it just makes my brain work close to normal instead of like someone who doesn't have it, where they get a boost. So I haven't been able to develop study habits, and I've been trying, and I'm doing that. I want to call them study habits or work habits and such, and I'm getting there. But part of it also is just I do not function well in heat, and apparently by this upcoming Monday, we're going to have temperatures that are topping 100 degrees Fahrenheit in this area. So I do not do well in heat. I don't think well. I don't do it well physically. So we're going to see how that goes. Now, I don't just want to yammer on about that because there's also other things. This is a big one because I talked about some things yesterday with H.P. Lovecraft, and learning to hate your literary heroes. And there's also a concept that's death of the author. Death of the author can be used in a couple ways, I think. The one that I am familiar with and was kind of taught is once the work is done, it does not matter what the author intended. It's up to you to bring out the context and the subtext and all the stuff that the work would bring to the table. Because there are some people that refuse to even acknowledge that like subtext will exist. And subtext is not what the book is coming out and saying, but is saying without saying. It's if you talk around a subject, you can eventually see what the subject is because you're leaving a subject-shaped hole in the conversation. And it rapidly, over time, not rapidly, but it becomes obvious what you're avoiding because you're talking around it so much that you can see it clearly. Subtext is kind of like that. Like J.R.R. Tolkien with his Lord of the Rings stuff has said that, well, before he died, that there was no subtext to it. There was no allegory, there was no metaphor, it was just a story about hobbits and elves and dwarves and their battle, and that was it. It meant nothing. There was no subtext. But the thing is, it is also the entire thing, subtextual story about World War I and his experiences in World War II and what happens to worlds and people with power. It's an obvious allegory and metaphor. He says no. He wrote it, he said no. It had nothing to do with that. It was just a resounding, exciting tale about all this. Death of the author. It doesn't matter what his intentions were. And remember, with people's blind spots and the way they think, he may fully have believed that there was nothing to it. But your viewpoint is partly filled in by those tinted lenses you look at the world through. And when you don't look at the world through those lenses, your perfect equation falls apart because part of that equation is part of what you're looking at it through with the worldview. And when you take the worldview out, that's also part of the equation and it falls apart. There is blind spots, there are biases, and that's what happens. So even though he said there was nothing, obviously there was. You can't just piss him off though and tell him he's wrong. because he's also right. But it doesn't matter at that point. Death of the author. And each generation of readers has to recontextualize each work to make it feel and touch them in their lives. And that's what can make work difficult to get into as well, because of that whole recontextualizing and losing the subtext, because each of our literary works from the past, and I mean all literary works, are written to reflect the age they're in. So most old stories that go back 1,000 years may be parables and tales about how to live your life, but they're also directly written about living your life at that time in that situation. So yeah, you get to recontextualize it, but you also have to be careful, because recontextualizing something about a pre-industrial life with pre-technological objects, like nothing like an internet and phones, that only works so far. But so that's just death of the author right there, and that's cool. I mean, you have to recontextualize everything, and no matter what they say. So it's like, yeah, even though J.K. Rowling, to jump back on this one, may not be a very nice person at all, and if you listen to the things that she says, not as the writer of the things, but, you know, personal, real life stuff, she's not a nice person. But at the same time, death of the author, and once it's out, she may be a person that you can loathe, but you can recontextualize her work to fit. Hey, what else do I have over here? Oh, real quick. If anyone ever watches to the end of these, thank you very, very much. It is appreciated. Clogged, and then it hurts. Yay. Way back in, like, I can't even remember the time frame, but I think it was the early 70s, but such, there was the group Creedence Clearwater Revival. And the problem with this group, even though it was very popular, made good songs, is the main person of the band, and all I can remember is his name now is John, but he was an absolute control freak. The songs were his, everything, he just controlled it all. The rest of the band was just there to make his stuff look good. Later on, that group, they sort of said, we'd like to do just a little bit more instead of just doing nothing at all. Can we put a little creative input in? And so the lead band member's reaction to that was to just yank the ball and threaten to go home. It was like, all right, you wanted to have creative input. This is your creative input. You will do this. You write these songs. You do this stuff. I'm not even going to be part of it. I'm going to do what I want to do on this album. You do what you want to do on this album. And if you don't, that's it. I'm dissolving the band right now and walking away from this. So to keep the band together, they did that. And it wasn't a good album. They didn't want to have complete creative control. They just wanted some input. And then the band dissolved not long after that, because the lead singer just, hey, these people have personalities, and I'm tired of dealing with personalities. They want to do things instead of just being puppets. Screw it. And so broke up the band, went out and started doing solo work. And then really couldn't do solo work after that, because he got sued for his solo work because the previous band label that he was on owned his sound. And so when he made music on another label, he sounded too much like himself. And so the other label sued him for sounding like himself and plagiarizing his own sound. But he's never given up. He's never quit. He's just a control freak. He's ruined everything in everyone's lives over this. It is insane. He's a good musician. He's a good artist. just a control freak, and because of that, ugh. But I've also opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I'd like to thank 20 to 25 people for having left me a comment. I'm not reading the comments right now. I'm going to go through and read them. Thumbs up each one I do. Answer as many as I can, but for right now, I'm just thanking you for having left a comment. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. I am an American English speaker, and even though I count an American Sign Language on the fingers of this hand with my depression, fibro, and more, I am sometimes lucky I can remember anything at all. 1,000% better, but still, especially with the cannabis used for what is the word? Chronic pain. Yay. So we have Ghosty Ghost, thumbs up and thank you. Serial Spiller, greatly appreciated. Confused Owl 29, always good to see you in the comments. Ricky Bettini, unfortunately Ricky Bettini won't be around for a while. Bad news, I'm very sorry. Tomas Vargas, thumbs up and thank you. Orphan Obliterator. Thumbs up and thank you much. And we have Captain Jupiter, greatly appreciated. Christopher Thomas, thumbs up and thank you. Denial, thumbs up. And Jerry Staples, greatly appreciated. Dark Odyssey, and it looks like a little emoji type face. Thumbs up and thank you. Colin Reisner, greatly appreciated. Kevin Judd, thumbs up, and that is it. 13 people having left me comments. It wasn't many. That's fine, but any amount is a good thing. Definitely a thumbs up on that. If you could check out my various links down below, I have Twitter, Facebook, Patreon.com. If you could become a Patreon.com patron, like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. And if you'd like to help me out financially without sending money through the patronage, I have a PayPal link down below. If you'd like to help me out without sending money at all, I have an Amazon wishlist link as well. And if you'd like to just, I derailed myself there. My sincere apologies. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot donate, or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. And of course, I do have a P.O. box. If you could send me anything, letters, P.O. boxes, postcards, just anything at all that's cheap and little, whatever you want. I'm not going to dictate. It would be cool, and I will open them up on camera and we'll show them to people. So hopefully we can get some more mail. That would be cool. And if you can toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. Definite thumbs up. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Greatly appreciated. A definite thumbs up on that. Well, Hokey smokes. I hope you're staying as busy and creative and safe as possible. There's still an active pandemic that is just taking out people right and left everywhere around the world. So be safe, be careful, be smart. Get vaxxed up if you can. And if you can't, please wear a mask. Even if you're vaxxed, it's a good idea to wear a mask. But wear a mask. Wash your hands. Try not to touch your face. Maintain your social distancing. Just being healthy is a good idea. It's much, much more pleasant. So, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a definite thumbs up.